right, now we're recording. All right. Good morning. How is everyone? Awesome. Great. Hopefully something doesn't happen, like I get a phone call and this all goes out of whack pretty fast. But all right, cool. So today we're going over one of my favorite things that takes all the stress out of my life. You guys can move down too if you guys want. I'm gonna try and move around and be visible, but it is what it is. So setting goals that matter, right, is the name of the class. It's pretty easy if you set your goals and engineer your life how you want it to, you can have whatever you want. Perfect example is the last 3 years, up until this year, the last 3 years, I pretty much knocked on doors, called cold calls, did all sorts of stuff, and I still made roughly 100,000 every single year. And then this year, I started doing what they told me to in Keller Williams. The whole reason I'm in this office, I started listening to what they had to say. It started going by the goals, models, and reverse engineering it to get to the goals that I want to do. And I will at least double my goals to triple my income this year. So with that, we're going to go over goals. We're going to reverse engineer it. And some of those big things is figuring out what your big why is. We talk about that all the time at Keller Williams, big why we're here, what we're doing. So think about that for a second. Can anyone tell me a crazy goal that they have, or just something that's they consider a dream? Example for me, like my big why is I want to be able to have 100 acres in the mountains where I can go sit and stare at the stars, do nothing, go shoot guns in my backyard. Yeah, well, you drink, I don't drink. Have fun. I even want a wine cellar because I like hosting parties and stuff like that. And I want to be able to have it with my family, kids, wife, and I want my wife and my kids to be able to do whatever they want and money not be an issue. If they have a passion, I want them to be super passionate about it and go for it. And that's super important for me. And those are big whys. I'm already getting choked up thinking about it. I want to provide those things. I don't want it to be stressful for me. I want to be able to have the time to do it with my family. That's what motivates me. That's my big why. Now, how do I get there, right? Who knows? Win the lottery? Probably not going to happen. We're lucky enough. I was lucky enough to even get this internet going. So winning the lottery is going to be tough enough for me. So I don't want to leave it to chance. I don't want to leave it to all that. So what do? I figure out how much I need to get there, what it's going to take, how it's going to be obtainable while still having a quality of life. I still want to be able to have time with my family. I don't want to work 70 hours a week. A lot of us, I had yesterday off and I was relaxing. I got a call from a client that was like, and then we'll get into this, how this helps goals. This is actually a good win, but it was on a Sunday. She was like, I know you don't work Sundays. I just went to an open house. I want to place an offer. This person told me they weren't going to be active until December, right? We put in the offer, we got it. So we went under contract last night, and all I did was write an offer. She showed me some video of the house. I told her things I want to look at in the house. I went and checked out after we were under contract, but it was my day off, right? In the future, I don't want to have to do that. So my next goals are to leverage, right? To bring on my assistant full time, have what's called, also have just resources, have buyer's agents and things like that, right? So I have to reverse engineer that. I need to know what I need in production to be able to provide for all those things in the life I want, right? So if you guys go to page 3 in your booklet, I'm gonna try and share my screen. It's all wrong. I'm gonna share my screen to the PowerPoint. I see the PowerPoint. Yes. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I did that, and then it took over both my screens, and I lose Zoom. So they can see it, so that's all that matters. I can still kind of see them. So if they make comments, I want to be able to. If you guys make comments, I might have to have you guys unmic and actually talk to me, due to, let's be honest, user error with technology. So. If you guys go onto page 3, I want you guys to envision your big life and think crazy. Do you want a helicopter? Do you want 100 acres and mountains like I do? One of my big goals was to learn how to race cars. I'm actually going to be doing that in February with one of my buddies. We had the same birthday. We plan on doing that. That was on my vision board. We're going to go do that. Just think about awesome things. Like I want to be able to go to schools and teach through Keller Williams. I want to do the kids care. I want to be able to go and teach financial education to children. That's a big, big important thing for me. I want to be able to give back. I don't want the next generations to have the financial illiteracy that they have now. So that's a big goal of mine. So write down on page 3, looks like you guys can't see because I'm sharing my screen, but the page right here. Go ahead and write down some of your big things and what you think it'll take to get those dreams. I'll give you guys 2 minutes. Figure out technology. While you guys are writing it down, things we're going to focus on today is lead gen. We're going to reverse engineer it by setting goals, and obtain training, and getting coaching, which I actually have 2 coaches in the class right now that under office from my other coaching. I do want you guys to think super big, go a little crazy. All right, would anyone like to share or start filling that out? Are you doing on notepad? You're right here, dude. I see you. Anyone like to share some big goals? If you guys want to throw them in the comments, some big goals. I want to hear something crazy.
I'll share.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to have the freedom and flexibility to live the life we want to live without finances being an issue. And what the main thing for us is being able to travel and live outside of the States 4 to 6 months out of the year, have a bicultural life. If we want to go to Mexico, we want to go to Italy, and be able to live there and really immerse ourselves in that culture for 4 to 6 months out of the year.
That's awesome.
Have a business that is leveraged and that is running efficiently while we're done.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. And for you guys that didn't hear that on Zoom, she wanted to build a business and life worth living, which is one of our goals in Keller Williams and part of our mission statement. And to live out of the States for 4 to 6 months and have her business leverage. So she's making money while traveling and enjoying life in Mexico and Italy. Where are we going in Mexico? If you say you were, okay. So like if you say where is it, like from El Paso, we can go anytime.
Well, I'm a West, so yes.
Oh yeah, all right. Oh, Chuco, all right. Yeah. Chuco.
We don't want to live there, but we'd like to visit, yes.
We'd have to visit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. That's beautiful. And you can definitely obtain that, right? Like I know you guys' business. I know no one else in here knows you guys stuff, but I know you guys are working towards that right now. So that's awesome. Beautiful. I'm glad that I had places to go visit, to go see you guys.
Yeah.
So who else has some crazy, awesome goals?
I want to leave legacy for my family. I have 4 kids and a grandson, and I just want them not to struggle, to leave them property, rent over stuff where they can live their passions and do what they want to do. And I want to be a writer. I've been writing for years and years and never, I want to
That's beautiful. So,
hire a publisher, hire,
and not have to worry about the income from it, right?
Absolutely.
But when you get the income from it, it'll be super
It's
sweet.
just, frosting on the cake.
Beautiful. She said she wanted to leave a legacy and she wants to be able to work. She's been a writer forever and wants to be able to explore that without having to worry about the financials of it. We talk legacy a lot at our office in Keller Williams, and it's obviously a thing. Like, I'm not getting 100 acres just to it go to nothing at some point. Another way that and you guys are hearing me gripe about this all the time right now, is profit share. I'm working on building my profit share really big. I'm working on being a recruiter for our office to help people build their profit share as well. Like, if you bring me someone that you want to bring into the office, I'll have a meeting with them. I'll put them under your downline and help build your profit share. So it's a very overlooked thing, and profit share should be a big thing thought about in our office, because we do have the mindset of abundance and we can help everyone. So, and with the shifting markets, we're gonna see a lot of people get out of real estate. So we get to kick ass and pick who is gonna do awesome in real estate, who we're gonna work with. So, what's some other big goals? Going?
I have relationships with different people through spending time in Haiti.
Mhm.
So I'd love to
Give back.
I used to go there every year for a while, and then
They're
now
struggling right
it's
now.
So bad now, can't go, but I can't here's $1,000. With however you keep it, I can't do that.
That's a beautiful thing, right? Be able to give back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else got any crazy goals? Let's hear it.
All right, crazy.
Yeah, crazy. I want set helicopter yet, so I want to hear.
Okay, so
If you guys are putting stuff in the comments and I don't see it, let me know. If you guys can't turn on your screens too, it helps me be able to know if you guys are engaging or not. No one else can see it. It's only I can see you guys, so don't be nervous that you're on a big screen. Okay.
the word kingpin doesn't necessarily come with a good positive connotation, but in reality, when you own multiple.
Dude, I love that
properties-
movie.
Well, right, there you go. So,
Basically like Tony Montana.
yeah, exactly, there you go. Local entertainment, is actually ran by a couple of people, like a handful of people here in Denver. And I would actually like to take, his legacy forward, and it would be the owner of Soho. So essentially would be able to,
What's his name?
I don't remember his specific name, but. he
I
has
know,
the
I
church
know his name too.
vinyl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so I would actually like to go into business and potentially take over that legacy, essentially.
I can actually probably help you get in touch with some of those people because I bartended for 14 years.
Okay, there you go,
So-
yeah, so, yeah, I think that would be a goal, to essentially be the owner.
Nice. That's awesome. So you want to build a nightlife, and
Exactly.
Yeah. that's awesome. That's cool. You know, some people don't have stuff like that.
Right.
Bar industry is a hard industry. Maybe guys, anyone else online?
I like that baller homestead idea.
What's that?
And I said I like that homestead idea. Like 100 acres, you could do like some bikes, 4-wheelers, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Like
Paradise,
snowmobiles in
right?
Colorado. Yeah.
He was saying my 100 acres idea. You better get on it, man. I'm trying to buy all of Colorado. So let's think about what it would take to get those goals, right? Like all these goals are obviously in the millions, which that number scares a lot of people, and it shouldn't. There's a reason in millionaire real estate, millionaire real estate agent, that's gonna be, millionaire real estate agent, they talk about, you need to think $1 million and then gross $1 million, earn $1 million, receive $1 million, give $1 million, right? I'm probably missing at least 1 or 2 steps in there, but we're gonna go with it. So the biggest thing is thinking $1 million, thinking that you can do it, right? So we all got to reverse engineer where we're at, and then go from where we're at to the next step. So we're definitely gonna go over that. Any ahas from just thinking about your big goals? Not everyone at once.
I feel like I don't think that big in general.
You don't think you think that big? You should.
I know.
That's good.
I should,
Yeah.
but I feel like when you ask what
goal, like, if I got own house, I like your car, I get this good person that actually I want my own plane, own an apartment building, like, I don't think like.
Yeah, I definitely want my own plane or helicopter. I mean, that 100 acres isn't gonna show itself, so.
You know what would help? Just ask yourself, why not?
Right.
Yeah,
If
why
you
not?
think about something and then you find yourself coming up with the excuse of why that wouldn't work, ask yourself after that, why not?
Exactly, why not? So, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating everything, I'm trying to make sure they can hear too, right? So, yeah, thinking big is huge, right? We don't know where we're gonna be at. So I've always been called a dreamer. So many people think my goals and stuff like that are ridiculous. I have a vision board at my house with, I like classic cars. It's got some classic cars on there. It's got, I'm a gun guy, so it has a bunch of guns on it. It has a beautiful house that I want, that's in Evergreen. It's beautiful. I actually want more land than what it is. So it's, that house is a stepping stone, and people tell me that house is crazy. I want this life, and people think when people see it, I can tell who's on the same wavelength as me is when they see it, they're like, oh, you know, they give me an excuse for that, this and that. I'm like, no, I can do this. Why not? Someone else is doing it. Someone else lives there right now. Someone else built it. Why can't it be mine? Right? So I don't let any limited beliefs, and we talked about that last week. I don't let any limited beliefs dictate, especially others, dictate what I can do. Right. And I've had my own limited beliefs. I've had to break through them. Recently did a whole bunch of work on that, but that's a whole different thing. Definitely think big and go huge. I'm going to.
I don't do 116.
What's that?
I don't do 116.
That was my main intention. So, who we are and where we want to go determines what we do and what we accomplish. The one thing. It is a great book. And trust me, I know that Keller Williams always quotes all of Gary Keller's books. I get it. There's also some other phenomenal books out there. It's not that know all be all, but it's their course. So we're going to go with it. I do love this. I do also love the whole principle of the one thing. It's the same principle as Miracle Morning. It's, you know, there's one thing that you need to do to generate all your income and do everything else. You need to figure out those one things, the 80-20 principle, which I believe we'll talk about in here, and going over that. Think, act, achieve, right? Small actions create small outcomes. Big actions create big outcomes, right? You got to think about what, who, what, how, and who to get to where you need to be, and actions. And we're going to go over that. I love reverse engineering things. The first time when I was a kid and someone explained reverse engineering to me, I was like, well, that's how we probably figure out everything. And as I grew up, that's exactly how we figure out everything. Right? You can't start somewhere and just keep pushing forward and try and hope to figure out. We want to find out what the end goal is, work backwards to get to where we want to be. But we want to think super, super big. Like my goal this year, and we'll talk about this a little later, I did a thing called Profit Camp. If you guys have a chance to do Profit Camp, there might be a Profit Camp class at Mega Camp. I do it every year when it comes around. It is one of my favorite things. It breaks down your finances hugely. Like it breaks down what your own personal finances, your business finances, what you want as profit, and all those things. And with that, I came out with a number of 340 was my number that I wanted to make and conquer, right? So I had to reverse engineer and think about what it took. And we're going to do that in a second here with y'all. As soon as I figure out how to do all this. That's understanding your goals. This is just stating that you need to know where your money comes from, right? So it says, let's get real. So if we know the average sales price, this number is really easy for me to remember, and I enter it into my computer on a regular basis in opportunities. If I sign a new buyer and I don't know what their price range is, I enter 357, 143. I was born in the 80s, so I've had pagers, and we used to send the text message 143, which means I love you. I think there's some rapper that made a song about it. So I know 143 and 357 is, I'm a gun guy, so it's a caliber. So I remember those two numbers. So when I put people into command, you can also just put 350 and it comes out to 9,800 at 1.8, or sorry, 2.8%. But I put it in command when someone tells me that they're interested in buy, sell, or invest in real estate. I put them into command, say they're a buyer. I put them immediately as 350 or as this number, knowing that I'll probably make around 10,000 at least for it. That's a pretty safe bet that you're gonna make 10,000 in commissions. It's a good round number. It's easy. So it's just easy to know. So we're gonna break down how all this money works. Cool. So there's all sorts of expenses with real estate. In this office, this is my example. I pay 30% towards my cap. Most people are on a 20%. I like to pay it off a little bit faster. And I'm comfortable with it. So that's what I do. At 18,000 and the 3,006% is across the board. So it is what it is. If you're on a team, sometimes your company dollar, market center company dollar is half that. But the rainmaker does have to pay the 18. This is not working out. So let's go to page 5, your guys' handbook. Write down your average sales price.
You can change how much percentage you put in for the cap.
Yeah, I mean, they're more than willing to take more of the money.
I mean, like,
She asked if you can change your cap percentage. It's a minimum of 20. I think it's whatever you negotiate. When I started, we were already doing 30, and then they lowered it to, I think, 20%. If you're in the coaching program, they do 30 because 10% goes to Eva. And then I still do 30 because I like to pay off my cap pretty early. So I'm about to pay off my cap in like a few deals pretty soon here. So on page 5, Ryan, what your average sales price is, a minimum of 350, right in there. Average commission of 10 grand. You can put in your royalties in your cap, whatever that percentage is. If you're on a team, you're probably paying 20 or 30%, whatever it is, and you cap at whatever. If it's 9 grand or 18 grand, whatever it is for what is.
So do you recommend I do the team goal or my individual?
Do your individual for this one. Because we're making this very personal. But I'll sit down with you guys separately and we can go over a plan for your guys team. Okay. But you need to know how to feed yourself first. Like, just think about it this way. When we do goal setting and stuff like that, it's just like being on the airplane. Say a window busts out and you got to put an air mask on. You got to put it on yourself first and then your first favorite kid. And then on from there.
So I want to have one. So what do you mean by net income goal?
We're at net income, so your net commissions. So whatever so in the very top line on A, put in how much do you want to make this year in net GCI, gross commission income. For me, it's 340 is my goal. So I would put in there 340, 20,000 is the cap and royalty. Business expenses, I can tell you because I know my business expenses are roughly I have it in here as 110 because that's with my assistant being full-time, you're paying 50,000 a year. So, it's obviously once you start leveraging, you lose some money. So, which is not a bad thing. And then I have for my design of my life, but we'll get into that going ahead. So business expenses, whatever it is, then you can add A, B, and C together. What's that?
So this year is starting this year until next August, or this
Just
year
think
like 2020?
Whatever, however you want to look at it. It's what you want to look at, whether it's now from them. So I actually said it wrong. Annual net income goal. So I said that wrong. So A is what you want to make. how much money you want to take home. So for me, it's 100,000. I want to make 100,000, so this actually works for me. 100,000, that plus business expenses 50, that'd be pretty right on from where I'm at right now. Meaning a total GCI of 171, that's pretty average. Actually, I think I actually filled this out, so it should be mine. Average commission of 10 grand and annual transactions. I need to do 17 transactions to meet my goals, which can sound daunting. I've only done 17 actions when I was on a team. I think I did 16, so I've never even done 17. So, you know, is what it is. But also my price point's a little higher now.
Your business expenses, I'm assuming that's proportional, so very large in the business.
No, to make your goal for what you want to accomplish in this next year. We're gonna reverse engineer. We're even gonna tell you how many calls you gotta make. So just go with it. Dream, still be in the dream mindset. How much money do you want to make this year, realistically?
I'm looking at my bank account in my head.
No, don't look at your bank account. Think about what you need. So I want to make 100,000, right? Say I want a salary of a little over it's like 88,000 or 8,800 a month or whatever. And then company dollars, royalty, business expenses, 50 grand. It's a lot of birthday cards, you know. Total GCI is going to be 171 is what I need to do with an average gross commission income of 10,000 per deal. Means 17 transactions. Does everyone get that? Is anyone's financial goal net income less than 100,000? Anyone? Cool. I like your guys' mindset. It should be at least 100,000, right? That's also where I have screwed up, and I'm just being vulnerable, right? I screwed up. I've made exactly 100,000 GCI, and something I had to come over in my limited beliefs recently. I call it financial thermostat. It's in a book called Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. He talks about having financial thermostats. I didn't think I had one, but I obviously had one at 100,000. When I knew I had $100,000 coming to me this year, it happened in June, I almost stopped working. Like my mind stopped. I had a limited belief, something I had to break through. So I worked on it, did some meditation, did some inward thinking, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then I broke through that and I did what I could to break through it. And immediately I started getting deals under contract left and right. And I know now, out of fact, I actually have under contract, I have enough to make, I think it's 120 or 130 right now. And that's what I have under contract. So it's going to be super easy for me to double what I made last year. And my goal is more than triple it, right? And everyone's like, oh, it's almost the end of the year. Whatever. I'm getting calls out of the blue. I got a call yesterday in saying that she wanted to put an offer on something. She looked at a house. She wasn't planning on doing anything until December. Another reason it's important to sign people for a year, even if they say that they're not going to do something right away. Be like, awesome. This is just a commitment that if you call me, I'm here for you and vice versa. Right? I've had that happen quite a few times recently. People that I didn't think were going to do anything. We're going to go to my favorite part. Setting goals on command, right? I set my goals in command. I would show you guys my screen on command and show you guys my goals, but I'm pretty sure it's going to shut down the whole Zoom. So we're not going to do that. But I can tell you right now, this number is 340. I think it's actually 329 or something like that. For some reason, when I did it in command, it was a little bit different than when I did it on a piece of paper. And as I enter people into command, it tells me my likelihood when I love opportunities. It's my favorite thing. When I'm in opportunities and doing that stuff, you guys know what opportunity is? You guys are super new to all this. Okay, so opportunities is a thing in command. That's our pipeline. I put everyone in there that's hot, cold, warm, all those categories that we talk about all the time, where people are at. And I put what I think their price point's going to be and what they're approved for if they're not already approved. Their name, how I put little tags on them of what, where they're at, all this kind of stuff so I can track it later. And it tells me at the bottom, my probable and my potential. My potential is 1.4 million. My probable right now is around 300,000, right? So I need to move a lot of those people along in opportunities. Every Monday, usually right now, I'm calling those people that are in opportunities. And I go from people that are under contract, and I don't call them because I have a separate time during the day for deal check-ins. But I call people that I haven't signed yet, and I start calling them, trying to set appointments and go work backwards. And on Monday, I just try and generate and create appointments for the rest of the week to sign more people. My goal is to sign 4 people a month, one of them being a listing minimum. I shouldn't say the word minimum, that's bad. 1 or more, and then 4 or more new clients and 3 or more under contract a month. I've gone close to that. I've gone 3 and 3 before. I've yet to get the 4 and 3. We'll see how it goes this month. Like getting pretty close here. So we'll see if it happens. If so, I can buy myself a shiny toy. So you guys can guess what it is. It's a gun. And what's that?
What type of car?
A gun. Sorry, not a car.
Oh, God.
I'm cheap on cars. I like my toys. But yeah, it's just something I'm into. So it's what I'm going to do. So through Command, I can set my goals, look at it, I can calculate things. Command. So everyone's worried that they have to be perfect how they enter in numbers and how they figure out things. One of my favorite quotes ever is every master comes from disaster. You know, who named some pro athlete? Name you guys. LeBron or John Elway? I guarantee you the first time John Elway threw a football, it looked like a duck flying through the air, just wobbling around, right? But over time, he perfected it. There's actually a story of a guy that was a professional skier. He became a professional skier because all of his friends, he moved to a ski town, all of his friends were skiing and he didn't know how to ski. So he started waking up early and learning how to ski and going through it and doing all this stuff. And I don't know, I don't ski, so I have no idea. I snowboard and fall on my ass, but he was doing all this stuff and practicing super hard to be able to ski with his friends. When he finally had the courage to go ski with his friends, guess what happened? He smoked them. They were so horrible compared to him. He's like, screw this. And they started trying to find more people he could ski with and more and more and more. But through practice, he became a master, right? But he started off as a disaster, so bad that he was embarrassed to go with his friends. So every master comes from disaster. What are some ahas that you guys can take away before we start getting into some action stuff? Any ahas?
Working backwards.
Working
That
backwards.
definitely helped. Yeah, it definitely helped me. Just, create a good plan by working backwards.
Yeah, perfect. Working backwards. You can't. So when you guys try and find a new restaurant, if you just know the name of it, do you guys just go drive around the area that you think it's in, or do you put it in the GPS or in Google Maps and then it tells you where to go, right? You have to know the end destination to start working that way. So yeah. Any other ahas?
We obviously all want more deals, but having clarity with why we want them, I think it's just like a secret weapon that can actually boost.
That's perfect. Yeah, he said everyone obviously wants more deals, but to know why and why we have certain goals is huge. It puts a reason behind something. So if you can figure out your big why, and your why should make you cry, for sure. Like it should make you emotional. If not, keep diving a little deeper until you get emotional about it. Ask yourself, why is that important every time you get to a conclusion? What about is important to me? That's also 2 little phrases that I learned from Art that's in a book called How I Brought My Self from Failure to Success in Selling by Frank Bettger. Incredible book. Why what is super important, figuring out how to peel those layers. We're going to talk about doing the right activities, which I've kind of been going overboard on. 80, what am I doing? 80-20 principle. Does anyone know what the 80-20 principle is?
I do.
You
It's
do?
when yes, you have 100% of things, but you do 80% of them correctly 80% of the time, something like that.
Close, but not. So it's a thing that we've realized through society. It's not always exactly 80-20. Sometimes it's 95-5, right? But we've realized that small groups of people get all the results. So they found out, so this guy, doesn't say his name in here. Oh yeah, a name I'm not going to pronounce well, observed that 80% of the wealth in Italy was owned by 20% of the people. And then he started looking at other principles and other things, and it worked all the time. So 20% of your efforts create 80% of your results. So 80-20 principle is essentially taking all the work that you do and condensing it to things that are going to generate you the most money. What's something that's probably going to generate you the most money? What's that?
Lead gen?
Lead gen, listings, prospecting, exactly. Those are the things that are going to make you the money. The rest of it, you can outsource, right? I love leverage. So listings, if you guys don't have a transaction coordinator too, like I got under contract last night and my client's like, what's the next steps? I go, my transaction coordinator is going to tell you all that. Look for this email and you'll get it tomorrow morning. He wasn't even working last night when we got on contract. I already saw emails coming up. All I got to do now is show up for inspections and negotiate that. And the rest is handled. And appraisal, hopefully, should be, honestly, on this one, appraisal should be fine.
What do you use?
I use Red Door. They're great. There's a lot of really good ones, but that's one I personally use. So she's out of our office, or she used to be out of our office. They know command. There's another one too that Jose uses. That's really good too. So I'm not saying that I have the one and best one, but there's two specifically that I know are extremely well command.
I can vouch for that, because he told me about our door, and I've been using a TC American's Gen, which is amazing. I think I've told you that I'm on the finger triple, she's amazing.
Don't tell them that. I kept saying that I would pay them more, and they just upped their rates. So
They
I'm
actually do,
gonna stop
but
saying that.
She's so good, she saves me so much time, so.
How much do they charge per transaction?
Let's go over that another time.
Okay.
The one thing that you can do right now that would make it everything else easier and unnecessary. For me, it'd be lead gen. The more clients I have, the less I'm gonna worry about things. So I created habits. Through having my goals, I know exactly what I need to do every single day. I have to make 67 calls a week to my sphere a week on top of my follow-up calls and things like that, which I do on Monday. So it's broken down to 4 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I have to make 17 calls on average. I know exactly how many calls I'm going to make that create an opportunity every single day. In order for, on average, an opportunity every day, I have 4 opportunities. I usually get 1 appointment at least set and signed, which gets me to my 4 signed agencies a month, which gets me 3 under contract, which gets me to my 340,000 a year. So that's exactly, I've literally engineered it all the way to how many calls I need to make. After that, it's lead gen, growing your business. So we're going to go over 411, right? We're going to write down on page 7 your annual goals, 4 professional or 5% professional goals, 5 personal goals, my monthly goals, professional and personal, and you should have your health in there. Like how you treat yourself is how you treat your business. So make sure you really think about that. Weekly goals. I know my weekly goals. Like I need to get someone signed a week, and I need to make 1 opportunity a day in order to do that. So 4 opportunities. That's on my vision board. I look at every single day. I'll just briefly talk about this. Oh, I hear some personal annual goals or monthly or even weekly, something personal. Because we overlook that. Like money is great. I mean, money is awesome. I think Daniel Tosh said the best. Money isn't the root of all evil. Have you ever seen someone on a jet ski? They look happy as hell. So like money can buy happiness. So let's hear some personal goals though. Like one of my personal goals is I want to get down to 15% body fat and be at 185 pounds, right? I also want to hike at 4 or more times. And I always phrase my goals, and you should do this too. The language that you use with yourself is how you subconsciously perceive things, right? Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about how 95% of our daily activities are subconscious, not conscious. Only 5% is conscious. So you have to do good habits and do great things in order to reprogram your mind to be who you want to be. So I go 4 or more times a week on hikes with my dog. That's a personal goal. I have some personal financial goals too. I want to get 3 months of reserves for not just my business, but for my personal as well, right? I want to be debt free in the next, my goal was actually at the end of the year. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it in the next 2 months on credit card and personal debt. So, except minus student loans, but that's the thing. What's some personal goals that you guys have? Let's hear it.
I have a few. I would like to complete my first marathon.
First marathon.
I would like to, I've done several
I
halves.
felt winded just saying it. First marathon. All right. Full marathon. All right. All right.
And then I
It's
want
badass.
to do at least, if I, 100 hours of volunteer work at the Rocky Mountain Light Rescue, and also purchase my first property.
Is awesome. Purchase your first property, 100 hours of volunteer work at the with kittens.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna be a crazy cat lady.
I'm
Have you been to Wildlife Preserve? I'll send you a link for that.
Great.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, one of my personal goals is like in the next few months, I want to get another puppy. So, you know, like it could be whatever. What's some personal goals that you guys have here online? I see Felicia on there. Felicia's is probably like, she has big goals, crazy awesome goals. We're not. Kendra, what's one of your goals? You don't have a personal goal?
My personal goal is going to be to sell a couple houses. I know I'm brand new in this, but I want to be able to quit my job so I can go in full time.
Quit your job, sell a couple houses. That's awesome. Anyone in here?
I would like to cook more. I used to be really good at cooking. Having dinner with the family on the table, with no electronics and stuff, is so valuable to me. They
That's
talk
huge.
about stuff they would not ever talk about, and when I don't do it, I notice a big old gap with everybody.
That's beautiful. That's reconnection. That's super insightful. That's awesome. She was saying she wants to be able to have cook dinner. She loves cooking, and she wants to be able to have family dinners every single night with no electronics to really generate those conversation and connections. I think it's an incredible idea. That should just be a normal thing. Cool. Hope it doesn't. At the end, I think we're going to go through a little backwards step for you guys. I don't think it's in here. Everyone talks about the 411. There's also, I believe it's called the GPS, but we'll reverse engineer how many goals, how many even calls you guys need to make. So I did it last time when I taught this class. I love it. I know it's not in here, but it was my favorite thing. Don't lose focus. Remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. I have a vision board. So in my now office, which is my dining room, on one side, I have a vision board. One side, I have a whiteboard where I check off what I do. When I got that under contract last night, I was super excited to get that green pen out and put a little marker out. Just put a little, that's me. That's me. I was super excited to do it. It made me excited to make that little mark when I get an opportunity. I track my weekly stuff for arts program. I track my monthly stuff for the ALC. I have to put it in there, which we'll go over in a second. I have to go over gross commissions, closings, agreements. So people sign listing on buyers agencies. I didn't know what agreements was like half the time the first year on the ALC when they were like, yeah, you track your agreements. I was like, well, we agreeing to. I don't know why that didn't click. I always tell people English is my second language, just haven't figured out the first. And then the last one is appointments, right? And track how many appointments we go to. So that's one of those for that, for Danny Morales program and Jose Bonilla. I track pretty simply my agreements and under contract, because the closings will happen, right? And that's why I track 4 and 3 is a really big number for me. Once I reach 4 and 3, then I can buy myself a toy, right? So I can justify it. Hopefully it'll happen this month, because I keep seeing it on sale. What's that?
What is ALC?
ALC is the Associate Leadership Council. So how Keller Williams works is it's all ran by agents. So each office is independently owned and operated, but we're all go by the guidelines of like a franchise, right? But to vote on things, Gary Keller doesn't get to say what happens. We have to vote on things, right? So he'll come up with stuff for technology and stuff like that. But when we change rules, it gets voted on, not just in our office, but everything else. Like our standards for what you have to do to even have desks, to have a desk versus like things like that, were voted on in the ALC. Everything we decide on is decided on by the agents for agents. So it's not like dictated by leadership in any kind of way. So I think that's my favorite thing about not just this office. God, I'm emotional. Not just this office, just one of those days, man. It's not just dictated by this office, but everything else. So like if there's something going on in Keller Williams, it comes down and we vote on it for per office, then those votes go to the region, whatever wins that, then it goes, into international. And during mega camp and family reunion, those things are voted on a national level. And in right around family reunion, we usually have some pretty big things to vote on and rules that change in this and that. So it's pretty awesome that Keller Williams is 100% ran by the agents. So, and to be on the Associate Leadership Council, you have to be the top 20 percentile of our office, and you have to be involved. You have to teach these classes and stuff like that. So I'm very passionate about growth. I'm on the growth committee and the head of the growth committee. So that's why I keep on talking about profit sharing, things like that. I think it's a very overlooked thing. And it's also something I'm focused on in this office. I want to build wealth that I don't have to work for. So I like to not work. So there's that. It doesn't seem like it because I'm pretty active, but in reality, I'm just trying to be lazy in the future. How people achieve results others can only dream of. People always say that the difference between a dream and a goal is measurable and has a deadline. And it's 100% true. Think about all the dreams and goals that you guys wrote down in the beginning, right? All those are obtainable. You just got to figure out how. I want 100 acres. I want it to be paid for, but I know I'm probably gonna have to have a ton of rental properties to get there, on top of having my personal company, GoGo Living, grow to that. I also want to do more things in this office, like profit share, the Keller Williams, and build that. I know that I'm gonna use our systems and models to do it, right? So some of those big, crazy goals are only achievable if you actually put a deadline to them. We're almost kind of done, and then I'm going to take you guys through something to figure out your actual numbers. What are some recaps and ahas from just kind of figuring out how to even figure out what your money is? And we're going to reverse engineer it even more.
What's that?
Aha.
Yeah.
Aha means like, oh, you have an aha, like something you learn from it.
Okay.
It also stands for agents helping agents.
Okay.
So.
You just focus on the goal.
Yeah, focus on the goal.
So how, don't worry about so much about the how, because I feel like when we focus on the end goal, the how is basically show up by themselves, right? Just like you're saying, you're trying to hit this number by the end of the year. You basically just do some math at that point, what your average commission looks like. Take those two numbers, put them together, and there you go. That's when you deal with that goal, right?
Yeah,
To
exactly.
meet that minimum goal.
To be that minimum goal, yeah, to know where you need to be, right? Figure out what the exact amount is, right? So with that said, there's a great book that Jared Frost told me about. He runs an awesome team. He's to the point where he doesn't actually do any work anymore. He just runs a team. He's been in the business, I think, a year more than me, and he runs a whole team, and he doesn't go on listing appointments or buyer's points ever. He's pretty much just running a team. He's leveraged it completely out. And it's a beautiful thing. Every time I call him, he's like golfing or doing something awesome. It's great. It's awesome. But he told me he's super smart. He used to work on Wall Street, used to do analysis for funds and stuff like that. But he told me to read a book called 4 Disciplines of Execution. In the book, it talks about lead versus lag measures, right? If you look at what your profit is all the time, people that are only looking at their business by their profit, they're looking at their business in the rear view mirror. They're not focusing on the activities that it takes to get them there. And that's why it's super important to look backwards. Businesses usually start collapsing when they only start focusing on the profit and what money they're making. They stop realizing how many businesses have we seen that started crunching numbers, and the people at the top only cared about the numbers and stopped caring about how many people were greeted through the door. I mean, Kmart didn't have a bad product, the same as Walmart and everywhere else, and Target, but they stopped looking at what really got them there, right? Their customer service and experience. And they started only cutting corners on materials and this and that. I don't know this is exactly what happened. Maybe they just never updated stuff. Who knows? But I'm assuming every time I went in there, it didn't have the same feeling. There's no one to help me, nothing else like that. Even at Walmart, there's a greeter when you walk in, right? Like, I mean, we can joke about Walmart and the people of Walmart all we want. Is definitely the only place I feel comfortable walking in a costume, and I know I'm not going to be out of place.
Or pajamas.
Yeah. But you know, it's just one of those things. They greet you. They have things available. They're updating things. They're bringing value plus decent materials, so they know what they're doing. With us, we need to figure out the same thing. So what is our end result? Like if I want to make 340,000, that means I need 34 units on average, right? So what do I need to do to get there? So let's talk about that. That's pretty much the end of this. There's more slides. All right, cool. So, perfect. Goals to set your career on fire. Contacts added, conversations a day, handwritten notes a day, home previews per week. Remember that all the stuff in this material is pretty generalized for agents across the board, right? I think this is the end of your guys' packet where I was thought it was that. I add contacts as I get them, right? I'm pretty blessed that I know a lot of people. And I have over 2,000 contacts in my database. I have 800 of them as core. That 800 divided by 12 weeks divided by 4 times a week gets me that 17 number that I have to call to create an opportunity a day, right? So I'm reverse engineering. They say that if you have 100 contacts in your phone, for every 100 contacts in your phone, you should be able to get 6 to 8 deals on average a year. I bang this drum way too much, right? Like I tell everyone that they need to do this. I call first my sphere. I'm only working on my sphere now. Some people don't have that many contacts. If you have 100, it should be the first 100 you're calling. You should divide it up however you feel comfortable, but you should be contacting everyone once a quarter. I also, through command, do a thing. I talk about this all the time too. I repeat myself a lot, but it's working. So I'm having huge success from it. I do birthday smart plans. It tells me 6 days. So in command, you can link their Facebook. So every time I have someone in command, you can hire a virtual assistant if you don't want to do it. But honestly, I just sat in front of the TV and did it while I was like watching TV. And how I define core people is people that know who I am and know what I do. If I don't have enough core people to generate the money I need, then I need to be calling all and make sure that they become a core. They know who I am and know what I do, right? So I got in from the computer and I made tags for everyone. I wanted to tag for emails, addresses, their birthday, Facebook, and their phone number, obviously. I don't put tag for the phone number, probably should, because there are some people in there without a phone number. But to be a complete contact, you need to have their name, their phone number, their email, their address, and their birthday. I also add that I need their Facebook link in there. And you can take, copy and paste their Facebook link and Instagram link into command. So when it tells me to call them, I can click on it and remember who the hell they are. I also can do what Mike Bruce does, and I can look through their Facebook and be like, oh, they just got engaged, or they just got a new puppy, or they just had a loss, right? You don't want to be like, hey, how you doing? Hope you're being awesome. And then they're like, yeah, my dad just died, right? Like, I like looking at it and being like, hey, I just want to call and see how you're doing, check in. And I do care calls. What's that?
Your dad just died. Does he have a realtor?
Yeah, your dad just died. See, you have a realtor? Yeah. But I want to call and be pretty general and kind, right? And I care about people. I love people, so I'm pretty friendly. I used to bartend for years, and, I like people. So with that, when I call them, all I basically do is be like, hey, how are you doing? I do care calls. I go, hey, how are you doing? I do the forward. How's your family? How's your work, occupation? What you've been doing for fun? If you look on their Facebook, you can see it. And then what are your dreams and goals and how are you getting there, right? Because what do we do as real estate agents? We figure out their biggest dream and goal and help them get there. That's why that's so important. If someone's like, oh man, I love that you're in real estate, they'll bring up real estate. I never bring up real estate. They will bring it up. They're like, how is real estate? Or they ask me about guns, 1 to 2, whatever. I always throw in there a little slight thing like, oh, what have you been up to? Go hiking, shooting guns, and selling houses. And I just say that. They ask me what I do. I just say the same thing every single time. Because that's pretty much all I do, right? And eat bad food. 10 conversations a day. You need to figure out how many conversations you need to have. Handwritten notes, that's where the birthday smart plan comes in. It tells me how many people who I need to reach out to send them happy birthdays. Through Twilio, it sends them a text saying, says their name, happy birthday. My slogan is keep being awesome. And then it says my name and lets them know that it's not my cell phone number. And then they get that. I get messages back. Kelly tells me that they message back. I can go in there. I can call them from my cell phone. I call and sing people on their birthday. I have a horrible voice. They think it's hilarious. It's a great time. I don't do it at the office, so my first calls of the day are usually at home. And then I don't want to scare everyone here. And then it also tells me 6 days before, using a company called AM Cards. I put a link, someone asked about it on Facebook, and I put a link that you can get to AM Cards. No one ever uses my link. If 4 of you guys did it, I would get free cards for a month. But anyways, the back of the card has my face, my logo. They made that for me for $10. I did the long one and the short in the was it landscape and the portrait one. And they made it. It looks prettier than my business card. It has all the compliance stuff in there. They did a fantastic job. It cost me $10 for each for $20. I send out a lot of cards. And when I go through there and get their address, so this is another data mining, right? So I call them like, hey, 6 days before their birthday, I text them. I go, hey, do you care if I send you a birthday card? They're like, oh, why would I care? This and that. I'm like, awesome. What's your birthday? And they're like, why would I even care? They're like, oh, some people are weird about the birthday, like whatever. And some people are. Some people are like, no, please don't. But like, whatever. I just contacted. I just made a contact. I'm now top of their mind, right? And then when they tell me their address, I put it into command. And then I have their address in command. It puts them on neighborhood smart plan, right? Or I can, next time I call, I can be like, when the next quarterly call, I can be like, hey, I got some cool stuff. Do you own or rent? I can put a tag, own or rent. Or I can go into Realist and find out real fast if they own or rent, right? And I can do all those things. So every single birthday is a huge data mine. I'm figuring out what kind of client are they? Are they in my next listing? Are they my next investor? Are they my next buyer? Have they never, ever owned? And do I need to be talking to them about that? So don't always think that every phone call is, you have to like sign them up. Let it happen. They'll tell you. If you bring up that you're in real estate, they'll ask you questions, especially in Denver. It's crazy. Preview 10 homes a week. If you're busy enough, you'll be doing that anyways. I always offer that I'm more than willing to go show you guys how I preview houses. I go look at it. I have a list of things, a sticker that I put on. I have a system for everything. That's upstairs, of course. I put a little sticker on there that says roof, sewer, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, water heater, and windows. And then I obviously look at the structure too. There just wasn't enough space, and I couldn't figure out how to make it a little bit smaller because, you know, technology is not my friend. And put it on there. But I look at all those things every time I go to a house to help save me on time on inspections. If I see something majorly issue, I can set the expectations for my clients. Like we talked about last week, powerful language, setting expectations is huge. And I can let them know what kind of issues they might come. I can see, I let them know that things might come up on inspections as well, right? So I handle that ahead of time. So when something crazy happens in inspections, I do this for my listings too. I tell my listings exactly what's wrong with their house. And I do have a pre-inspection done. I do the pre-inspection mostly because then if we ever get sued, with our O&E policy, if there's an inspection done and we offer a warranty, even if they don't take the warranty, they waive that they didn't get a warranty, or they don't get a warranty themselves. Be like, hey, are you going to get a warranty? You don't have to offer it. But if they get a warranty or not, you can be like, cool, not going to get a warranty. Here's a waiver saying that you're not getting one. As long as they sign that, get one, and there's some kind of inspection, and you do the seller property disclosure and the listing contract, you do not have to pay a deductible if you ever get sued.
Do you pay for the free inspection?
It's $150, and yes, I do.
Yeah.
Especially right now when people are not doing inspections, they at least have something to look at, and no one ever looks at supplements. It's really annoying.
You said roof, sewer, plumbing, HVAC, and windows.
That's just things I do, right? Like I know construction pretty well. So I got in this business bird dogging for flips. So I look at the roof. I look at the major things that are going to cost money, right? In water heater doesn't cost that much. It's like $1,500. But when you're looking with a flashlight for the water heater for the date of it, you know how awesome that looks to your clients? They're like, oh my God, he's like really looking at this. But I do it every single time. And then I know that that's going to be an objection. If it's over 7 years old, probably going to want a new one, right? Do they need one? No, mine's older than me. So like, it just is what it is. I wish I did all this stuff when I bought my house, but so yeah, roof, sewer, plumbing, and you might not know any of that stuff. But as objections come about and as you do inspections, you're going to learn these things to look for. You're going to look for galvanized pipe in plumbing. Or there's a period in the 80s where they did PVC for the water lines. I mean, it's okay for sewer lines. It's actually preferred for sewer lines, but for water lines, they tend to crack and stuff like that. Whether it's PEX or copper, which I think both of those are fine. Sewer lines, if you cast iron, you're gonna need it descaled, right? If there's an inspection. So you can kind of just see things that you know are gonna be an issue in a minute. So it's a little off topic, but I'm always offer people that I'll go with them and preview homes. We can do exactly like I do with my clients. You can pick your 3 favorite and go look at them. I'd probably get a new one, an old one, and a really crappy one, really old crappy one. And we can go through all of them. I'm more than willing to go do tours and show you guys how I do that stuff.
Do you know, Keller offers a class that goes over the ins and outs of like?
No, because legally we're not an inspector. Yeah, I'm more than willing to help people. And the reason I'm willing to help you guys is because I want 2 buyer's agents, and everyone I try and train to be my buyer's agents won't do it. So I'm secretly interviewing you. I also am more than willing to share. I think it would help a lot of people's situations. So, but we are not inspectors, and a lot of realtors don't want to do it because we don't want to be liable for telling them something about the house. And I do tell them 100 times what I am not. I'm not an attorney, I'm not an accountant, I'm not an inspector, and everything that I recommend is just right. I'm making recommendations. Up to you to figure out whether it's the right fit for you. So just don't tell them things, suggest things. Everything's a suggestion. Scripts, my favorite thing. I do script practice a minimum of 3 days a week. I usually miss Mondays because of the Monday morning stand-up. But I do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 to 9:30 with you guys. And then they're part of a coaching program that I'm in. And then I think it's huge. It helps with lead gen, uncovering motivations. We talked about that last week. Asking questions. You can judge a man not by his answer, but the questions he asks. Right? That's an artism. Art Vasquez.
Question real quick.
What's that?
Question real quick. Do you do script practicing only with your team or do you do it with everybody?
I do it with a program that's not part of Keller Williams through Danny Morrell's coaching program. But Eva does have people do script practice every morning. And I'm going to start doing it on Fridays here with people as well. I'm going to do lead gen. I'm working on being in the office more. So if you're here and want to do script practice for 30 minutes before we make calls, or even hear how I make calls, you don't have to overthink scripts. A lot of the scripts are really simple. It's really just learning how you speak with people. So.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no, yeah, but you're more than welcome to come and join. I'm a team of me, so with some leverage on other things, but I don't have any agents under me yet. So maybe it's you, Ed. Undercover motivation is another thing that we want to do. We want to figure out their whys, and that's how are we going to do that besides asking big questions, right? Identify objections. When we talk about figuring out what's wrong with the house, that was our objections. The listing or the selling side, right? Listing or selling, sorry, listing or buying side, right? We're figuring out what's wrong with the house so we know what problems were going to come up. I like things smooth. So I try and figure out my problems ahead of time. I identify objections as I'm sitting there with the person. What's the number one objections we always get? Money, right? How do we handle that objection?
They can understand your values.
Yeah, understand your value. And they say, well, this other agent said that they do it for 5% or this and that. Like, oh, so it sounds like to me, you're really concerned about your net value. I'm sure you guys have heard that all. Repeat and approve. Yes. So repeat, approve, and identify what they're trying to say to you, right? And get it out of them. Closed deals. Obviously, scripts to close deals. Speak in terms the customer understands. That's huge. Building confidence. Scripts build confidence. It makes you not have to think about what you're saying, right? Any comments in the chat box? I can't see your guys' chats, so if you guys have stuff in there, if someone wants to read them off, any questions or concerns you guys have, please speak up. I tried to do that last time. It blocked out the whole screen that everyone sees in front of us. So if you guys have comments, can you guys? I guess you could. Okay. Thank you. Script practice. Who wants to practice some scripts? I'm going to practice with you guys because I know you guys already know.
I would definitely love to get in on that.
Okay. Well, we're supposed to be script practicing now, and on Zoom can't really do it. So who wants to give me some objections? Someone on Zoom, give me some objections. I'm letting you guys put me in the hot seat. You guys should take advantage of this.
I always have people ask me if the market's if we're in the bubble.
Oh, the bubble thing.
Of course, we're not, but I get that.
So it sounds like to me you're more concerned about netting the most amount of money, correct? Are you buyer or seller?
Buyer.
Buyer with the bubble. Okay. So you're worried about the bubble popping. So you're worried about buying a house and going down in value. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, I'm waiting for the market to crash so that I could buy.
You're waiting for the market to crash so you can buy. Okay, awesome. So when the market crashes, how do you think interest rates are going to look?
I don't know.
Most likely in a down market, interest rates go up quite a bit. So we can think about it as two things going forward, right? All the prices that are going up right now are all based on affordability. can we agree that the biggest concern for you is your monthly payment?
Yes,
Okay, so let's give an example. If I said you could buy $1 million property for $1,000 a month, would you buy it?
yes,
Okay, what if I told you could only buy a $50,000 property for $1,000 a month? Would you buy it?
no,
No. So that's the difference of interest rates, correct? So we're at an all-time low on interest rates. That's why so many people want to buy right now, so they can lock in a low monthly payment, but maximize their purchase, right? That's what's driving the market right now, is the low interest rates. Also, people value their houses more based on COVID and getting stuck at home. They value their space. A lot of people are working from home now, so they need more space. And we're going more into a digital world and working from home. So with those things, do you think it would be better to buy now or later?
I guess probably now.
Okay. And then another thing, let's just look at another objection and be like, oh, well, whatever, they could give you another objection. Let's look at the market. The market always tends to go up and down, but over a lifespan, it goes up, correct?
Yes,
Awesome. So people have been waiting for the market to crash in Denver since I got into real estate, even before that, right? And it keeps going up like crazy. It went up over 28% in this last year, which is insane. I bought my house for 200,000 right before the market crashed. It's now worth over 600. Do you think I was bitching when the market crashed that my house was undervalued?
probably.
For about a few years. And it's gonna be really hard to see a pop like that. The reason that pop happened is because it was already a buyer's market, which means there was less sellers, right? So, or there's too many sellers and not enough buyers. Interest rates were a little bit higher, and people were getting loans to values on their house in a buyer's market where they had no equity, and the equity was already not going up, and they're getting 125% loan to value, which means they're going upside down on a house that wasn't gaining value already. Then we had the financial crisis, and then everyone lost. Right now, since the market's been going up so much, people have a ton of equity, so people have a way out. So to see a foreclosure sale scare right now is really hard. And to put in perspective, a buyer's versus a seller's market is defined by there being enough properties on the market for 6 months. Right now, we have less than 4 days of inventory. So are you really concerned about a buyer's market, or are you just trying to find a good deal?
Trying to find a good deal.
Awesome. If we could find you a good deal that fits for you and can help you launch your future, would you be interested?
Yes,
Okay. So I handled all objections she could come up with. And then I identified what she really cares about. What does she really care about? She just wants a good deal. And wants to know that I can get a good deal. How many clients have told you, been watching whatever that guy's, Meet Kevin, who sells all his training programs? There's Connor Smith, something, David Connor Smith or something like that. There's all these, like, they watch all these things on YouTube and on HGTV, and they tell us how they want to do the house hack and they want to get a wedge deal and this and that. You're like, so you want a deal? Everyone wants a deal. Everyone wants to feel savvy, right? You have to ask them, do you want a deal or a house you're going to live in? Because usually deals that we find need work. Do you have the capabilities to do the work? Like, oh, well, I watched on HGTV, they do all this stuff, they build out all these walls. Like, awesome. Do you know how to do that legally? The word legally is pretty powerful when you're in a conversation with someone. They're like, what? I go, yeah, you have to pull permits. Do you know how to pull permits? Well, you have to have a GC license. Do you have a GC license? They're like, no. Like, okay, do you have a friend that? Like, no. Or maybe they know someone, like, cool, awesome. Now you're set. So you're figuring out their expectations, right? You're figuring out their comfort level. And that's an exact example of someone that called me and was like, I want this wedge deal. I've been watching Meet Kevin on YouTube, and I think I can do these. He's buying houses and fixing them. Meet Kevin used to be a GC. He still has a GC license. He started doing it when the market crashed, and now has all sorts of crazy assets, and has millions and millions of dollars in doing this stuff. Does this client have those resources? Absolutely not. In fact, she tried not to pay her when we had the credit fix guy. We actually talked about her. She tried she thought if she didn't pay her student loans for 7 years, they would drop off. That did not happen. They stay for life. And now the money she inherited, she's putting towards student loans. And she thought she could do these flips and stuff like that. She also thought she could do a flip with 10 grand. But what's up?
One of the objections, I have a few people tell me that they don't have the money to buy.
They don't have the money to buy a house. Okay.
So about the first time buyer, but like, come on.
When someone says that they don't have the credit or the money to buy a house, that is a great time to leverage them and send them to my boy Andrew that does credit fix, right? And I don't get any perks from bringing his classes in. I just think he's such a powerful resource. He used to be my credit fix guy personally and for my clients before he became a lender. And I was worried about him being a newer lender, but he's, I'm going to send him this because I tell him all the time. He's such a nerd that like, he's going to learn everything about everything, right? He knows more about loan programs than people that have been in the business for a year because he just gets super into it. And that's the kind of person I like. But yeah, so if someone tells you that they can't buy because they don't have money or don't have credit, they just qualify them as not a hot lead. It's not a hot lead, right? They just told you who they are in your pipeline. So in command, I would put them in opportunities as a nurture, right? They need to be nurtured, and I'm gonna follow up with them once a month, but they're not ready. And just like an alcoholic, they need to start doing the work before in getting there on a plan, but they do get there. I have people that are closing deals right now that I met 2 years ago, and I just kept them in my nurtures, and now they're closing deals. People forget about those. They go for just the hot stuff. The cold stuff will be money later on. And that's how you make your income go from 100,000 to 300,000 to 300,000 to $1 million. You don't let anyone fall off. They're going to do what they're going to do, right? But you can't, and you can only hold their hand so much. But if you just how hard is it to just call, spend 10 seconds calling them, being like, hey, just want to check on you and see how you're doing. Yeah, I'm doing great. Still working on my credit, this and that. Like, awesome. If you need anything, just let me know. I'm here for you. Just want to be there. All right, cool. See you. Unless you're like me and you talk to them for 30 minutes about actually.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
How do you remember or remind yourself to call your cold leads once a month? Like,
Cold
do you have a
leads,
system in place?
smart plans, and they're in my opportunities. So once someone tells me they're even thinking about buying and selling in the next 2 years, I put them in opportunities. They're in that pipeline. I call those on Mondays. I work backwards. And some people I call every single week. Some people I only call every month. And I just have a system for it, right? If I make quarterly calls to everyone in my database, I'm going to call them every 3 months. You're like, oh my God, you're only going to call them every 3 months? Think about your best friend that doesn't live in the state. How often do you call them? Probably not even every 3 months. So like 3 months is a lot. It's a lot more than you think, and it's manageable. You're calling them once a quarter. So it's pretty impactful. And if you're calling them on their birthday and this and that, like it just adds up. Like that's all I'm doing right now. Like all I'm doing is birthday calls, HomeBot, and quarterly calls. And then I'm having a hard time keeping up with my quarterly calls because I have too long of conversations with people. So even half calls or whatever, biannual calls or whatever, I'm still calling them more than anyone else, right?
Right.
So it's just another touch. So
I
don't.
have an objection. Oh.
What's up?
When I keep on hearing from sellers, well, I get two, because my family, they're all from Denver. One, they're scared to sell their houses because they're afraid they won't find another house in our neighborhood. And then they're also just really attached, like, oh, but we've had this house for 10 years, you know?
What was the last one?
They're too attached. They've had it, well, probably 20
Too attached?
years and things like
Okay,
that.
so there's not much you can do about attachment, but if you have someone who's like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna find, you need to have them talk to a lender first. So this is the problem with listings. You should start with the buy side. Everyone starts with the listing first. You need to sell them the why first. The why is the most important thing. So why do you want to move? We're focused as us is we want a listing, we want a listing, we want a listing. But how are we gonna get that listing? We don't figure out where they're gonna go. We one of the questionnaires I have, it asks, what's your motivation for leaving? Where are you going? What are you doing? Those are the first questions besides asking about their house. And then it goes into the details, right? Because I use that questionnaire all the time. So you want to figure out where they're going, what they're doing, and why it's important to them. If they might just end up being a nurturer. Also, not every single person you talk to, you have to sell that day. That's the thing. We get so hungry for the next commission. Put them in your pipeline. You know what saves stress? A big ass pipeline. I have $1.4 million in potential income in my pipeline, and I only have it right now. This year is at like 170 of what will be actualized, right? And my goal is to get to double that, literally double that in the next few months. But people are starting to come out of the woodworks. I started this in the beginning of the year. It takes time for it to progress. I'm gonna make multiple six figures where I had 5 months of no income because I didn't have systems and models in place before to follow those cushions. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm closing at least 2 to 3 deals every single month. And it's just, now it's progressing. Every master comes from a disaster. I've definitely made some bad decisions in between here and there, but I'm keeping up with it. I'm going with it. So if someone tells you all these excuses, be like, awesome. Do you care if I keep in contact? And then be like, hey, where's your next goal? Where is that? Does that answer your question, Mariah?
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't hold on to everyone so tightly. Know that they can also be for the future. Not every single person you talk to needs to sell to them. But if they do seem hungry, run with it. So, like when someone texted me yesterday to go through an open house and wanted to possibly put an offer in, I was laying in bed watching TV and I jumped out of bed and got that offer in. So, but I wasn't expecting them to do anything until December, so it worked out. Eva, sorry.
Can you tell me the name of your credit guy? I had a doctor's appointment last week and couldn't make that class.
It's Andrew Nantapria. Nuntapre something. Damn, I did so good. Let me see. Hold on. He's on my favorite people because he is. Preda, sorry, Preda. His cell phone number, if you guys want to call him, is 801-864-8868. He works for Supreme Lending. He goes by Credit Ninja. And he also does a YouTube channel for high-powered scooters, like the Lime things you rent. He has ones that go up to like 75 miles per hour. It's scary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you give me can you repeat that number? I got the first part of it, but not the second.
It's 801-864-8868. So 801-864-8868. He's awesome.
Thank you.
Andrew, ask me. Andrew Nantapria. Nuntapreda. That's Nuntapreda. He's awesome, like super awesome. You guys don't get him too busy that I can't call him though. Because I call him all the time. All right, so that was our script practice. Make sure for compliance, you do not call lists. So if you're calling your spirit, you don't have to worry about that because they know you and love you. Call in with scripts. We're supposed to call with scripts for 1 hour. We kind of went over that. Is anyone else, while we're in this role play time frame, do you guys have? I'll try and get you guys out. Yeah, let's hear it.
And there was someone that was like monitoring that property, but they're interested to buy. But then we talked to them, they were interested in like either a rent to own or we should now find there.
So what do you think their real objection is?
What?
So she was saying that she knows someone, she was at an open house and someone talked about that they don't know if they want to buy because they want to do a lease to own or maybe lease for now and buy later. So what's most likely? They want to buy, everyone wants to buy. Everyone, when you ask them what they want to buy, sell, or invest, they want to do all three.
Right.
It's like,
Well, I mean, I guess basically I'm looking and, you know, I was there with another agent, and in my head, I'm like, okay, they're not, it sounds like they need to talk to like Andrew and like figure out what their options are. But they're just not telling us.
90% of buyers' objections that they're giving you is finance. They're embarrassed to talk about their finance and their credit. That's all it is. Everyone's objection is money. Everyone's objection is money. Or it might be something that's affected by their big, that's their objection, right? They might have their big why, an emotional driver that is not money, like where their family is going to be. I have a family that's under contract right now. We thought they were going to find their stepping up home. We found their forever home. She's cried every single time I see her. Every time I see her, I also remind her that I don't live off of commissions. I live off of referrals and reviews. So I send her my review links every single time. I go, while you're crying, you should fill this out. Tell me how much you love me. And then I go, and as you're going through this process, people are going to be excited for you. Be like, hey, if you want to be able to do what I'm doing, you should give Bryan a call. In fact, I'm going to put us on a group chat and do a little group text. Train them to give you referrals. So, any more kind of, so with them, all they're trying for, if they're saying that they want to do a lease to own or this and that, be like, use the word game plan. Be like, hey, you might not be able to buy today, but I'm not like every realtor. I'm not trying to sell you a property today. I want to help build a relationship that you always use me for the rest of your life. Do you care if we sit down and figure out what your big dreams and goals are and work backwards and figure out what we need to do now to get you where you want to be? And they're going to be like, of course not. Be like, awesome. I want you guys to think big about what you guys want. And when we sit down at my office, either Saturday at 10 or Friday at 5, which one, what you guys really want to do and accomplish. And they're going to be like, well, I can't do Saturday at 10. I have soccer practice. Can I do the Friday at 5? Or they're like, I can't do either. Can we do next Wednesday at 4? Perfect. Appointment set. And then have your buyer's agency agreements filled out so that when you go in forever, however long, I have people on 2-year agency agreements because they're like, I can't do anything for the next year and a half. I'm like, perfect. We're going to sign this for 2.5 years. Whatever the time frame is, I got a year. And they're like, well, why do I need to sign this if I don't know if I'm going to do it? Be like, look, if I'm going to spend time going through things with you and going through that commitment, I just want commitment that I'm going to be the one that does the money and that my work is done. I don't get paid until you close, so I'm putting a lot of upfront energy into you. Would you go to work not knowing if you were going to get paid or not? And they're like, of course not. Perfect. I just want to know in the end I'm getting my reward for helping you out. And also with that reward, I really am based off of reviews and referrals. So if you know anyone else that wants help and guidance, I'd love to help them. And if you want to tell people how awesome I am, here's my links. Right? Just over and over and over and over again. It's the same shit. It's not, what's that?
Here's a free gun.
Here's your what?
Free gun.
No one gets a free gun. I'm like, what are you talking about? They can give me a free gun.
You're asking for reviews. There's so many different places that.
I have an email that I made that I didn't make, the title rep helped me make, and I can show you guys how I do it. This is a big tech thing for me, right? So I wrote Realtor on it, Zillow on it, this, I highlighted, and I could put a hyperlink in it. I put the hyperlinks to where they go, open an incognito window and found myself to how a normal person would, because if I do it on mine, I don't know how to turn off my stuff. So I have to do an incognito window so I can pull up my email and go into, like, if I go to Google, it shows me the admin thing, doesn't show it how everyone else sees it. And I put the links in to leave reviews, right? Which at the end, before you guys get off, make sure I need you guys, I'm working on becoming a KWRI, Keller Williams Realty International trainer. So to bring other classes here, I need 100 evaluations of 5 stars, 4 stars or above. So if you're I'll show you guys how to do that. Super easy. You just put your name, my name, the class, You have to actually type in my name because I'm not on there yet. And at the end, I'll have you guys do that. If you guys don't want to give me 4 or 5 stars, you can pick any other person on there. But yeah, I'm going for that. So that would hugely help me so I can bring you guys more classes too.
But like, is there a way that people can do reviews?
I tell them to copy and paste. And if it's a couple, you're gonna need them to do it from 2 different, what's the IPU, UPS, what is it? It's IP address. I don't know what it's called, but I tell one person to turn off their Wi-Fi and do it on their phone. And I tell someone else to do it on the computer if it's a couple. Cause I go, it can't be from the same source, same Wi-Fi or internet access. So for reviews are huge. You want reviews. If you guys go look on Google, I have 5-star reviews. Why? Because I'm awesome. So
Is that per platform then? One?
I have a link for each one and they click on it. And
No, I know, but what you were saying about basically.
Zillow definitely catches it.
The IP.
I have a problem with Zillow because I had a different email address before and they won't link the 2. So my current email address looks like I'm inactive. It's really annoying. It's a huge problem. I'm having a lot of problems with Zillow and they won't call me back because I won't pay for their services. I won't pay for these, so they won't help me. But I heard if I say something bad about them on Instagram or on Twitter, they'll immediately fix my problem and send me gifts. I learned that from Erin Levy. She was like, be careful. If she goes, I bitched about them once and they gave me everything I needed. So getting help, Command and Connect, right? Connect is our platform that has tons of classes. I'm working on being able to teach you guys these classes, right? And bring you guys more with that evaluation. So, and then Command, I'm obsessed with Command. It's free. I like free. It's pretty awesome. And then it also is integrated so much. And if you guys bitch about Command now, right now it's the worst it will ever be ever again. It's only getting better. It's getting better and better and better. And every 6 months, they're launching more and more stuff. And I use it on a pretty high level. It's been incredible for me. They're working on the AM card things that I'm working on. I know they're working on stuff with them with the smart plans. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. And then there's all sorts of things going on, like all sorts of integrations to make it super easy. We have a partnership with Nextdoor. So our app is the only one that uses actual neighborhoods. We have a partnership with Google, and we have a partnership. That's why everyone's KW email is actually a G Suites. And then we also have a partnership with Facebook, which gives us the best algorithm. Every time I post something about going shooting, I go from 100 likes to 20 likes, like 300 likes to 20 likes overnight. And then when I'm advertising houses that I have, no one sees it. I have over 4,000 friends. Like, how does that happen? You know, it gets suppressed. They're not friendly on guns, so it gets suppressed. That's fine. I then put an advertisement through the Facebook algorithms that we have set up with Command. My likes start going back up again. So using their algorithm. So it's just one of those things. It helps me fix my issue with all that. So it's not even on here. So make your success list, to do, should do, priority tasks, right? It's kind of a thing during the day. When I think about all crap I gotta do during the day, I have a time scheduled. I can show you guys my schedule. I even schedule in when I go hiking, when I do meditation. I wake up at 4:30. I go to the kitchen and I drink something with caffeine. It's usually yerba mate. I lay back down. I put on a guided meditation for 20 minutes. By the time the guided meditation is done, I stop snoring and start thinking about it. And then caffeine kicks in. I go put on clothes. And I leave my house to go on a hike. Right? I go on a hike. I work out at the top of the mountain. I get that in. I get that fresh air. I listen to books while I do it, so I'm getting that listening and reading going on. I then come home, shower, get ready, do whatever I need to do. Then I look at my emails for only 30 minutes to make sure I didn't miss anything from the night before. Nothing needs to go out. I send out birthday things on Facebook, and then I get into scripts at 9 o'clock. And I get into scripts. I do that, and at 9:30, I immediately go into making my first call. Me. If I need something to call, I usually call birthdays first and sing because it puts me in a good mood. It makes me feel funny and silly, and it's fun to call someone for their birthday. I do that. That's also an icebreaker for me. It helps my mental state that I'm not calling them about real estate, that I call them like, hey, happy birthday, whatever, I'm gonna sing to you. I make it funny or whatever. And then I go straight into my calls. I start calling those 17 people. I call those by around 11:30 noon. I'm done. I have 12 to 1:15, I have blocked out for lunch and recharge. I'm gonna be blunt, that recharge sometimes is a nap. Okay, my dog cuddles the best during the day. He lays under my arm. It's adorable. I get that love. It's great. I love my Char Char. His name's Charlie, but I call him Char Char sometimes. And he's adorable. And I get to lay with him. And I go home for lunches. If I'm in the office, I go home, or I set an appointment. I have lunch appointments all the time, rekindling with friends. And those turn into listings. In fact, the listing that I'm getting 20,000 calls right now for is we'll probably go on contract, under contract this evening. It was from taking a friend to lunch and doing my care calls and just calling and saying hi. Literally, that was it. So got a listing from it. So definitely make a to-do list. So for the afternoon, as soon as I get back from lunch or my nap or whatever it is, I immediately have check in with clients. I check in on all my current and past deals, check in and do all those things, the task list, that to-do list that you want to do in the morning because you're like, oh, I need to do this for this deal. The deal can wait until afternoon. Straight up, deal can wait until afternoon. Jose Bonilla, who last year did 101 deals, he will not let anyone interrupt him during his calls. He calls in the morning, he does his calls, and that's it. He doesn't let his clients interrupt this and that. And I tell my clients this. I tell them my schedule. I go, I'm not calling you back until like 1:30, just so you know. If there's an emergency, I would have already seen it at 8:30 when I looked at my emails. Right? Like I go, if you want to interrupt me during that time, I need a referral with that interruption. You're going to tell me someone that's willing to buy or sell in the next 6 months. And I just set those expectations. They know. And I go, then, I have appointments from 4 to 7. So I'm technically working from 8:30 in the morning till 7 o'clock at night, almost 6 days a week. And I tell them not to even bother me on Sundays. The lady, when she called me yesterday, that she went through an open house and wanted to put an offer, they go, hey, they want the offers in tonight by 8. I know you don't work on Sundays. Will you please write an offer for this? That was a pretty awesome interruption. Like she apologized for me writing an offer, which she got. Like that was awesome. I like those problems, right? All right. Next one is probably, that is not what you guys are going to do. Okay, cool. All right. So if you guys all get out your cell phones, which you guys probably already had out, because you guys, what's that?
You have to remove that little black text box.
They can see me normally. They don't see. Oh, that? No, don't do the survey. Let's go back to this. So you guys don't do that. Don't do that. I don't know what that is. That's for other link yet. Go on your phone and in the Google search, whatever your search is, put KWU eval, EVAL. KWU eval. And it will, actually, this probably is the link actually. And then on there, you'll see KWU course evaluation survey. It's by SurveyMonkey. Click on that.
KW course evaluation survey.
Yeah, click on that. It should look kind of like that. Like that. Cool. And you're going to hit Market Center. Okay, everyone caught up. Hit Market Center.
Just put Kingsbury.
You don't have to put it in there. Just hit Market Center, and this is Ignite 2.0 Spark 5. So the course name is Ignite Session 5. Instructor name, you're gonna have to scroll all the way to the bottom and type it in. Instructor not in drop down, click on that. My name is Bryan Bernard, BR. Oh, right, you're free, guys. I have 4 cameras, so you guys are welcome. And I'm correct-handed, so you'll probably see. Put my name. Remember, if it's less than 5 stars, put someone else's name. I need to get 100 of these.
I'll write that in the comments.
There's no co-instructor. There's, you can ask how you like this and that.
I think $20. Just give you all bucks.
Oh, yeah. I'll take you a lunch soon.
Only need a box of ammo from you. 9mm.
That's like $50.
I'm gonna go back and take it back there.
We can go shooting. Just remember, I'm the instructor. I'm the one who can go.
Went to give my buddy a few rounds for his gun. He just bought. He's like, "Oh, just get the box." I gave it to him back. I still have regret. I was like, no, I gotta go find another one. I was like, damn it, I should have gave you 21 instead of a box.
Yeah, it's tough right now. Does anyone have any questions, ahas that they want to share? Anything else like that? Quickly, I'm gonna go over one quick way to figure out your goals, right? Let's, while you guys figure out the eval, is everyone done with the eval? Give me 10,000 stars and all that stuff?
Yes.
Okay, if you guys take a, so on the back of your guys' packet, it has 4 little things. We're actually going to use a highlighter. We're gonna make on any page, you're gonna just make 4 sections, right? 4 sections. That doesn't look right in your guys' thing. It doesn't matter. Make 4 little things anywhere on anything. And on the very right top corner, you're gonna write what you wanna make this year. So for you guys. It's called the 4 conversations. So for me, it's 340. Okay. Right? If it's 100,000, whatever you want to gross commission. So that was that total number after, paying office cap and this and that, right? So 340. So I need to know, to get to that 340, I need to know how many closings I need to do. So I'm gonna assume that to make 340,000, I need to, try and move this way if you guys can see. You guys probably can't even see that. In order to make that 340, I need to do 34 closings. So this is gross commission income. This is closings. That's right. And then the next one, I'm gonna assume in order to get 34 closings, I need to go on at least, I'm gonna assume that I'm gonna get signed about, let's say, 75% is a good rule of thumb. If you take, 75% of the appointments I go on, are gonna get to closings, right? That's how my success rate from people that I sign as clients to closings, right? So I'm gonna just do rounder numbers. I'm gonna do 48. This is how many agreements. Like how my words get smaller, my letters get smaller when I run out of room. So so I'm going backwards. So I'm going from GCI, I can divide by 10 and get how many closings. And then from closings, I can figure out my agreements I need by, how do I do that exactly? I think it's times that number by 75. So if this was 30, divided by,
We're trying to figure out percentage number, right?
yeah, so it's,
34 or 48.
I'm gonna do 36. Because I know it's
Divided by 75.
divided by 0.75. Yep, so if you take your number of closings you need, divide by 0.75, you should get whatever, how many agreements you need. And then if you take that number and divide it by 0.5. Agreements. So this number is going to seem super crazy big for you guys, but we're going to go over it. 96, right? Mine's 96. Double the amount of appointments. So when I did this, I thought my success rate, so if it's someone you know and a warm lead, they say that you'll go on appointments, and you'll convert 75% of them, right? But if it's a cold appointment, you don't know them, you'll convert 25%. Right now, I'm at like a 95% success rate. So, conversion rate. So, but I'm also mostly calling people in my sphere, but some of those people that I'm calling right now are leads that I generated from like door knocking years ago and this and that. So like, they're not all warm, right? So I need to do 96 appointments. So how do we figure out from appointments, how many people we actually need to call? So everyone have those numbers. That's called our 4 conversations. So that's what you need to do in a year, right? That gives you how many appointments you need to do. Well, how many appointments do you need to set, right? Let's think about stuff. If I need to set 96 appointments, how many weeks are there in a year? 52. So let's minus 4 weeks. That's 48. That gets me right back to how many signed agreements we have, right? I'm gonna give myself a month grace, holidays, this and that. We're gonna say I'm gonna actually work 48 weeks, right? So that already leaves me at exactly what that number is. So that's how I figured out how many appointments or how many signed things I need. So I need 48. So I took the appointments I needed, which was 96, right? Divided by 48, that means 2. Means that 2 appointments a week to get to my number. I cannot relate today. Hooked on phonics did not relate. Does that make sense, or am I jumping around too much? Right? It's if you take the amount of appointments you have and divide by 48, you should have how many appointments you need to set a week, right? So for me, it's exactly I need to set exactly 2 appointments a week. So how many calls do I need to do to set those appointments? On average, if I call those 17 people and all local people, I get 2 appointments a week, right? I get 1 to 2 appointments. Right now, I'm averaging, 1 to 2 appointments a week, right? But I'm getting a better conversion rate right now, right? But that doesn't always work out that way. So we're master by disaster, right? All masters came from disaster, right? I'm a disaster right now. I'm figuring out how these numbers work. By tracking them, I'm able to figure out what these numbers are. So if I want 2 appointments a week, I start tracking my numbers and figure out how many people I call a week. I at least have a goal for that week. I didn't want to set 2 appointments, right? If you set 1, you're gonna, according to how we just did the math, you're gonna be at least 170 in income, right? What's up?
So let's say for 2 appointments per week, how do you get to the number of calls?
You gotta figure that out, right? I've learned through my experience, if I talk to 80 people a week, I'll get 2 appointments.
We talked to how many people a week?
I call 80 people. I necessarily have to talk to them. 80 people is what I've come up with by just finding out, right? But I know I have to set 2 appointments. So as soon as I set 2 appointments, that's also why if I have people in my, I try and set one opportunity a day during my normal calls, during those 17 calls, right?
And are those calls or contacts? Or both?
Calls. Yeah, good question though. The fact that you're reaching out to people is sometimes just as good as talking to them, sometimes better. Because if they don't get back to you, next time you call them 3 months later and they're quarterly calls, they're like, oh shit, I meant to get back to you. How are things going? They feel indebted to you and then send you a referral, right? Or then they tell you they want to buy a house. Or sell a house, right? So if I know that if I call on Mondays, all people in my opportunities, all people in my pipeline, and I know that I need to set 2 appointments, I'm calling those people with the direct intention that on Monday, I'm gonna set those 2 appointments. Am I gonna beat myself up if I don't set 2 appointments? No, because I know that they'll just come to me if I keep doing the work, right? There's times where I've signed 6 people one time in 1 week. 1 week. It was crazy. Like I couldn't get people to meet with me, and then all in 1 week, I had a ton of appointments and they all signed, right? It was super weird, but it just comes, it all averages out. So don't kill yourself too much, but push for it, right? I know that I need to push for 2 appointments. If you're going for 170, we know that you need to be, with the numbers we showed on the things earlier, you need to be at 1 appointment. 1 appointment will get you 170. So if you look at your pipeline and set the 1 appointment, then you're all set, right? You can almost relax for the rest of the week, but you want to add people to your pipeline too. You don't want to just stop with appointment. That's where everyone goes wrong. They stop with appointment, but it's a nurture game, right? It's how many people can you talk to people? How many times can you contact them, or what they call touches? I think touches sounds a little creepy, but like still, how many contacts can you do? So if I know that on average from making my calls, I figured it out in 3 months' time. If I call roughly 15 to 20 people a day, and my exact number is 17, if I call 17 people a day, 4 days a week, I tend to get a opportunity, someone in the pipeline every single day. That's adding another person into my pipeline, and then through that, I usually can set 2 appointments from them or ones further out. It's all about follow up too, right? So Monday is all about follow up for me. I'm also calling people on a Monday. Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to call people and talk about business. They're gonna know I'm talking about business. When you call on Monday morning, it's 100% shows I mean business. Like, hey, I'm calling you about when you said you wanted to buy, sell, or invest. I need to know what your next steps are or what you need help with in your next steps. What can I do to help you in this process? Well, I'm not really ready yet. Awesome, that's fine. You don't need to be ready, but I want to make sure we're prepared. So what can I do to help you get prepared? And they'll be like, oh, well, you know, they might give you a bunch of excuses. That's fine. That's fine. They're not a hot one yet. You're categorizing, you're qualifying your leads. You can call someone and be like, oh man, glad you called. There's this house down the street. I totally want to look at it. Can we go look at it? Yeah, awesome. I have time at 5 today. Can you do that? They're like, yeah. Can you do a little sooner? I'm like, maybe at 1. Can you do 1? They're like, yeah, cool. Let's do it. Right? You just don't know what people's urgency is. In time frame, if someone tells you they can't do anything for 2 years, you can cut that in half. You can cut people's time frame in half dramatically.
Do you ask them like for like, are you approved or like before you show them, or you just take them?
I don't take them. I sign them.
Huh?
I sign them. I sign everyone. If they say that they want to buy, sell, or invest, and they want to do it in the future, I go, cool. When can we set up a time to go over what that's going to look like? I signed a listing that's going to close next Tuesday. I signed them as I did a listing agreement with them in January. And they didn't really want to sell until like November. They ended up selling early. But they wanted to, their house isn't going to be done till later. They're just going to travel less. But they wanted to, when I sat down with them, they're like, oh, well, we don't have to wait until later. What's the likelihood of them signing with someone else when I leave? How many people have you gone and talked to, and then like 2 weeks later, you see on Instagram or Facebook that they just bought a hell of a place, like a month later, you're like, what happened? I thought you weren't ready. Right? They didn't think about it. The client that I got under contract is not ready at all, but she saw something she liked and she's jumping on it. Right? I have clients that have been ready. Well, the wife's been ready the husband is not ready to buy another investment home. And she's super gung ho about it. Every single one, every duplex that comes up, she wants to buy, and everyone he doesn't want to buy. And at first I caught her eagerness and I was all about it. Then I realized it's not happening. So I go, hey, you guys let me know when you guys want me to do the property analysis for you and on what properties. I don't care about doing them. I'll do them for you guys. I'll tell you exactly like all the information. I do a whole analysis for them. I learned it from Art. I teach you guys. That's Art's deal. And plus he's the one that does it. He has 65 properties. So he's the guy I talk to. He 65 rentals. And then he also has like over 20 development projects going on. But he's broken it down. He shows us how to do it. He teaches class on it. It's Power Plus One. It's awesome. I do that for my clients. I show them all the property analysis. They're not really ready. I don't think they're even going to buy this year. But anytime they call me, Kelly was actually living in a triplex that I tried to get them to buy. And when they moved out, they weren't interested in it. And then when it came on the market, they were. I did a property analysis. They should have bought that one. But they didn't. Once again, one loves it, one doesn't. I know that now. I'm not trying to fight them on it. I'm letting them do it. But I also have a buyer that are working on credit and things like that. People going through divorces, all this other stuff. You never know when they're hungry. So you want to be prepared for it. I sign them right away. I tell them the same speech. Let's get this. And if it's a listing, I put to be determined by seller on both the date it goes live and the listing date. I just put the expiration for 2 years out or a year out or something like that, whatever I'm comfortable with. And then I put in the price to be determined by seller. Right. So, and then with buyers, I just sign them for a long period of time. But yeah, now I'm your resource. And if they're not ready to buy, then I'm like, I'm not ready to sign. That tells me that they're not ready to actually commit to me. I'm not going to commit to them. So.
I have a question.
Yeah. What's up, Ashley?
I'm sorry, but my phone cut out in the middle of the math when we did gross commission. Mine's 120.
So you
Number of
take the
closings.
gross commissions, and you divide by, actually you times it by 0.75. Or no, sorry, you take your commissions and you divide by 10, right? So say, what do you want to make in commissions?
120.
100 and what?
120,000.
120. Okay. So you take 120, that means you need to do 12 deals. Minimum. Or, I guess maximum kind of, because you're not going to find anything under 350 really. I mean, there are things under, I'm about to do a buy sell that's going to be in the 250 range. But yeah, on average, on average, you're going to make 10 grand. So that's 12 deals. Now it's how many contacts you need to make for 12 deals? You do 15, right? Is that math right? No, it's not. Divide 12 by 0.75. And that's how many agreements you need to leave some fallout. You want to leave room for fallout, right? If you just think about like, oh, I need 12 deals, I need 12 clients, I need 12 appointments, it's not going to work out. You need to leave room to fail. And to fail forward, right? You just know your numbers, right? It takes the stress off. And then, so whatever that number is, and then you divide that by half. And that's how many appointments. Because you don't know if you're going on cold appointments or warm appointments. Warm appointments, you will sign 75% on average, according to some stats that I don't remember. And then cold leads, you'll sign about 25%. So I'm just making that in the middle and moving 50%. So, and then you divide that by 48 weeks in a year, and that's how many appointments you have. If you get a decimal point, even if it's like 1.1, you round it up to 2. Are you going to be really upset if you do twice the business? No. If you get a 0.5 appointments a week, make it an appointment a week. Leave room for you to succeed. Cool. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Does that answer your question? And then start tracking how many appointments you get by how many calls you do. Start tracking how many calls you do a day.
That's where I was. So I got all the way to appointments, but how do I know if I need to make 1 to 2 appointments a week? How do I know how many calls I need to be doing?
Start calling at least 20 people a day until you make two appointments a week, or whatever your goal is. If you get it done in one day, awesome. If you do it one day every single week and that seems to work for you, good.
Okay.
But then
Trial and error.
you do it every day, so you might as well do it every day, and then you're gonna be a super baller. And then, you know, I'm gonna be coming to you for advice, right?
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Awesome. If you guys have questions, or if you ever want to go tour houses with me, hit me up. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I'm pretty easy to find. If I don't get back to you right away, that's because I'm with a client, and I'm not gonna get back to you while I'm with a client. So that's another thing you guys should do, is when you're with people, tell them that you're with them, only with them. If you know that you are expecting phone calls for emergency, whatever situation is, and can't wait the hour that you're with them, let them know right then, I'm expecting this call. If this was you, you'd want me to answer it too, right? So just set expectations. Be very clear. Don't be afraid to tell people something or what it is and how it works. It's just, it takes out all the stress. Take all the stress out by having hard conversations up front. So tell them what's wrong with things. I love pointing out things that are bad. And then they're like, oh, you're not selling me on this? I'm like, no, I'm here to protect you. So, you guys good online? I can add the comments now. I have no idea what you guys wrote. I don't know where my cursor is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
To those comments, so hopefully there wasn't too many. All right.